Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Minx, and today, as you can tell from the thumbnail, we are beginning our first ever Sims 4 series. Today's build is the first in a Sims 4 save file that I'm going to be making for my own townies, my own legacy challenges, things like that. So let's get right into the tea, sis. Not to shit on EA, but they really haven't made any towns or townies that I have found interesting since Strangerville, and that was a really long time ago. So, um, I understand the need for a few filler characters here and there, but the townies feel like hell on earth, and the builds feel like I am in a dystopia where everything is uninteresting, and all of my Sims end up being loners with no friends and going about their day and their life and their aspirations without ever speaking to another townie unless I create them. So I figured, why not create all of them? Because I feel like it. Now, obviously, some of the iconic characters are going to be staying, but some of the ones that I don't find interesting will be changing, their lore will be changing, or for example, the Goths, we're going to be bringing back some of their old lore, maybe tweaking it a little bit to fit the environment more, things like that. Um, but yeah, no, intro out of the way, let's get right into it. Alright, so we're starting off the series very simply with the Willow Creek starter home. Just so I can have some room to talk about the actual world and the general energy I'm going for, not only in this build, but in Willow Creek itself. Overall, I wanted to inspire my Sims 4 worlds by some place in the natural world, and Willow Creek specifically, I notice a lot of people turning this world into something inspired by the Pacific Northwest, which is wonderful. And I love Life is Strange as much as the next guy, but to be honest with you, that doesn't really fit my personal imagery of Willow Creek. With one of the neighborhoods being named Crawdad Corner and the inspiration of the architecture, this world has always made me think of Louisiana. Specifically, a rural, small, historical Louisiana with some small details from my own rural city in the South. So, after I got to researching different areas in Louisiana, taking some inspiration from larger populated spots as well as the deeper parts of Louisiana in Google Maps to get a general vibe, then, as any Sims 4 builder does, I decided to go to Pinterest to find some direct inspiration for the shell of this build. I'll put up a reference image on the screen so you can see what we're working with. Just a more grungy, less modernized, and general energy of a home that's been empty for a while. I'd say it's probably from a lot of the population moving from the rural areas to the larger cities, sadly leaving many beautiful homes aside to gain more modern opportunities, because most jobs in this town are trades, mechanic work, construction, welding, things like that. But the current neighborhood we're in, Foundry Cove, which I believe I named Creek Bend for this save, is the lower income homes, where not many full families live and slightly younger people live here. Some who are older, down on their luck, slobs, or just simply not making a lot of money, and tend to be the manual labor of this city. Courtyard Lane, north of this neighborhood, is going to get slightly better, with slightly larger, possibly two-story family homes with middle-class houses throughout. Yes, I will be keeping the pancakes in the save, but these will be your teachers, farmers, probably a church thrown in there just to ensure the southern aesthetic stays very strong throughout the whole world. Pendula View is going to be your old money, like the Goths, where they don't really have to work as much anymore and hold strong generational wealth between them. This is where your politicians are going to live, as well as the mayor of the town. Sage Estates is actually going to be your historical buildings that are protected by the city, where it's essentially a museum you walk through that's still just kind of a house. And one of them I'm possibly going to make haunted and maybe put some paranormal investigator types in this town. Then down south is where your old school gas station, grocery store, laundromat, and possibly a diner. But overall, nothing too large like the original Creek was, with the lounge and the gym and all that. None of that really happens here. A lot of your working out is going to happen in the fields, or because you're a construction worker or a mechanic, things like that. But I do still kind of want to have that small town energy to it. It's just not a Pacific Northwest small town. It's a very southern, very Bible Belt style small town. And a lot of the townies are going to represent that. Like, for example, I'm a lot farther in this save than this first video. There's one couple that's actually in the lower income that recently moved into town, and they're very like Americana in the sense of the American dream type couple, where they want to have kids, the husband is a blue-collar worker, the mom stays home. They don't have any kids yet, though. They're still young adults. They're still getting their life started, and they were actually high school sweethearts. But yeah, the wife is really into crocheting and gardening and stuff like that, and the husband is just... he's really into having cookouts. He's the reason, actually, why they started getting along with everybody so well right off the bat, is because he hosts really well-done cookouts for the neighborhood and feeds everybody and makes really good gumbo, things like that. Like, very, very southern. But, you know, that's kind of the vibe of this entire town and kind of the vibe of this build. I originally was going to fully furnish this house, and I was going to fully just deck it out for anybody who just wants to hop in and start playing. But I figured I wouldn't actually do that once I started placing the bed down, because most of the time you're not really going to see a lot of furniture in the house that you're building. At most, there will be a bathroom and a kitchen, so that's kind of what I decided to add into this home. And as you're going to see later on in the video, I'm definitely going to grungify the outside of the home quite a bit, and just add a lot of unkept shrubbery and a lot of dead vinery throughout. But the hardest part of this build for me personally was, for one, trying to use the Sims 3 camera to place clutter, because I'm not used to it yet. And for two, it was the kitchen, actually, because most older homes, whether one-story or two-story, tend to be very closed off in the way that they're built. And they have a very closed floor plan, and I'm definitely not used to building a closed floor plan in The Sims, because houses aren't exactly one-to-one to real ones. They're pretty close, but they're not wholly accurate. So building the kitchen was actually really difficult, and as you'll see, it took me a long time to figure out how I wanted to frame it and put it. But yeah, no. That is about as much as I have to say about the world and the current starter home that we're building. So I'm going to leave you to the rest of the video to just enjoy watching the build happen, and I will see you in the next video.